And so when we get out of community, and one of the reasons why I struggled so much with vices in life and sins is because I was on my own and doing my own thing. The second that I ejected from the community of the church body, I got lost in space and I got lost in my stuff.
You are listening to Testimony, a musician story featuring JGivens, Fly Exam.
Return of the Jedi from Rio de Janeiro on the red eye. Yet I still feel a need to be flyer than your average 8.5 by 11 origami loose leaf from the tablet, handcrafted by the
Summer 2013, JGivens entered the music scene with LV Envy. He primarily pushed it out of his backpack, and over time it infiltrated the Christian hip-hop landscape. Features began to follow suit, and before he knew it, fans labeled him the dopest rapper. This kid who essentially came out of nowhere was flying high. People were eagerly anticipating the arrival of his next project. Well, it is here. Fly Exam is already receiving praise. The last episode we told JGivens' story. This episode, we will focus solely on Fly Exam.
Better think about it. Why they got me feeling like I'm so fly, fly, fly. I know you feeling this. Why so fly, fly, fly?
It sounds dumb, but the title Fly Exam rhymes with eye exam. And so that's really important to me because, one, I have really bad vision. I'm almost legally blind. And so I've never woken up and been able to see. And so that kind of physically, I feel that pain, but then also spiritually, of course, not being able to see and having the scales ripped off of our eyes by the gospel. And so I was going to do a project that was based on this optometry thing. And it was called Anaglyphs on Eye Exams, and that actually never came to fruition. I wanted to keep that kind of theme. So I remember having this kind of fever dream moment. I was listening to Andy Mineo and Mars, a song called Neverland, and on the hook, it said, "I'll never land." And the first thing I thought, especially with rising up in popularity, is I thought for myself, I was like, well, what if you do? How hard do you smack against the ground? And so it was kind of from there, it was oh, I think I got a concept. There's this rise and this fall thing and this ups and downs of life. And so Fly Exam was the Lord gave me that title, and it basically means the test that we take in order to fly. And it's based off of an extended metaphor of the story of Icarus flying too close to the sun and his wings melting and him dying in the Mediterranean Sea. I think it's loosely based on the imagery. It doesn't really go into the story of Icarus. It's pretty literal as far as my life. Daniel Steele, Braille, Thomas, Cortland, Anthony Cruz, Beautiful Eulogy, everyone that produced on it, we were producing and creating sounds with that mindset to be kind of suspended in the air or crashing or in a hole looking up. And so that space kind of ambient thing was really important to us.
The rollout of this album has been one of the most innovative presentations that the music industry has seen in years. He dropped a series of visuals that included super low-key, that looked like a still picture, but wait a minute, did he just move? The most recent of the visuals was 10 to Get In, where historically, he's one of the first artists to release a 360 video. Yes, 360. Watch that bad boy on your phone and slowly do a 360 while watching it, and flip out at what you see. FYI, you can only watch it on Google Chrome or through your YouTube app on your phone. But the first of the visuals was for Ignorantro, which coincidentally kicks off the album.
After that, a supernatural disaster just happened to happen. What's happening? Let's get it cracking. Y'all better have faith. Got a habit of taking your place on your homie's tablet as his favorite rapper. Matter of fact, the only rapper. Last May, seen a jackpot link and they hit play. Went to Google Play, you was history that day. Sorted it by genre, hip hop, he had J.
And it's pretty much an ignorant intro. That's a rant. And so I wanted to, on some hip hop stuff, I wanted to basically come through with this album, it being my quote unquote debut album, to say yo, I'm doper than everybody, and kind of do not for shock factor, but more for the fact that the purpose of this album was based off of people saying, yo, you're dope, you're gonna make it, you're killing all these features, now let's put you on this tour, let's fly you all over the place, and the reason why I'm in the sky is because I'm dope. And so I was going to get really big headed on it to open it up and say, yeah, I'm dope and I'm doper than all of you. As a matter of fact, I'm so dope that your friend deleted your mixtape off of his tablet and put mine on it and deleted every other rapper because I'm so dope. And then also I wanted to, in my kind of checklist as far as being validated as an MC on my own standards, I wanted to write a battle rap. I had never like written a battle rap, and I was like, I need to know how to battle if I'm going to be an MC. And so that was like twofold for Ignorant.
I'm the one who made it. I'm the one who's famous. I'm the one who's on Humble Beast. I'm the one who came through. I'm the one who comes from the east to the west. See, I'm the one that do it. I'm the one that's fluid. I'm the one that's freestyling just to do it on the album too.
The video to Ignorantro ended with a plane crash, which metaphorically represents him being big-headed and crashing. Like what you're hearing so far? Check us out at testmimonystories.com.
That's testimony stories with an S.com,
where you can hear content for you and about you. Everyone has a testimony. Everyone has a testimony. And we want to hear yours. Tell us how God has transformed your life. Each month, we will select a person to highlight and interview. Find out more at testmonystories.com.
Testimony.
A musician's story. Testimony, where Christian hip-hop artists give you an exclusive look into their lives and their music. Take a journey into the minds of today's top Christian hip-hop artists as they open up and share about their past, their faith, and their music in ways you've never heard before. Put on your favorite pair of headphones or turn the stereo volume up and listen.
A musician's story.
Hey, yo, what up out there? This is your boy JGivens, and you're listening to Testimony, a Musician's Story. Peace.
On Butterfly Stance, you will hear an unfamiliar yet familiar voice singing the hook, then later accompanied by Liz Vice.
Hopeless. I wish I'd come home with you, so high, so this blue sky I run to, so high, hopeless. I wish I'd come home to you, so high.
When I wrote those lyrics, I didn't even write those lyrics down. I sang those lyrics into my computer because I was feeling like that. And so it was difficult for me to not to find vocalists, but how painful that song was when I wrote it or when I sang it into like GarageBand. Like I was like, I gotta sing this. One, there's no one that's gonna be able to capture this emotion that I'll be satisfied with singing this. And then also the lyrics and the tone is just, I wish I'd come home you. Like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? So it's like I have to like sing that myself. Anybody that says, yo, your singing sounds good, I'm like, cool, because I didn't know if I was gonna ruin you guys' day, but I had to sing that. One thing that my voice doesn't do, I'm not like a lead vocalist. It was kind of for the emotion. And so for her to come in and like really like bloom that out, it kind of bloomed out like a butterfly to kind of show like that you don't have to fly so high. The song is literally, it opens up kind of like as if like after that giant, dramatic crash in Ignorantro, if you're listening to it, straight through, it's kind of like a wake up, like this like slow, like, okay, I just crashed and I just knocked out and it's the next day and I just woke up. Either that, or I really wanted to create the aesthetic that like you're falling, and then right before you smack into the ground, like a half of a millisecond before you hit the ground, it stops and you're just staring at the ground and everything freezes. And so that's like sonically what Butterfly Stance is. It's like, boom, right there. The actual content is reflective of like everything that happened. So it's like war-torn, forlorn, mental capacity. Like my mind is like, there's lust, drugs, and greed, like this just giant strife and turmoil and this battle going on. And now I'm like inches away from the ground and I'm probably going to die because of my actions, but let me reflect. So that's like the rap part. And then it kind of jackknifes into the singing part, which is I guess it's kind of like cinematic. Like if I'm given the mental state of everything, and then all of a sudden, bam, I'm in this room and I'm singing to God, like, can you get me out of this again?
Butterfly Stance rolls into Fahrenheit 99 and continues with Liz Vice's vocals.
A preemie, and I'm dreaming. I have a dream if not. I got a premonition as a fetus that I would enter and be the seed to lead every elitist. As I reposition my feet, I'll breach, I'm just buying my time. I'm about to climb up this ladder, up this tower of Babel and get so high. Somewhere I heard a crew of lions comes before the autumn. Y'all gonna discover that you was lying. When I fly in, my timing is June or August. Hotter than any Miami team. Heat or dolphin, it's golden water. Y'all living in dreams, and I'm evolving from crying to talking to telling you I can accomplish more than the God that you claim to crawl to. Oh, walking is primal, and my assignment is flying right up to Zion to illustrate just who I am. I'll rise faster than Mercury, acting urgently at the core of the earth, asking gravity if he's heard of me.
The title is actually the melting point of paraffin wax. And so that's important because in the Greek mythology, mythological or whatever story of Icarus, like his dad Daedalus, who's an inventor, created these wings for him to fly and escape the island of Crete. And so the adhesive for the wings was paraffin wax, and the reason that his wings failed is because he got too close to the sun and the wax melted. And so that's the title, Fahrenheit 99, the melting point of wax, pretty much. And so it's actually the kind of landscape of the actual imagery of the Greek story. And so it's kind of this backwards we want it to be like suspended in the air. And it's like kind of the end of this little trilogy at the beginning of the album, actually. And so it's like the first verse talks about, it's like a literal interpretation of Genesis chapter 1, like with God separating the waters, and there's water above and water beneath. And then there's this firmament in the middle, this sky. And so I kind of take us from heaven and go below sea level of heaven to the bottom of the ocean of heaven, boom, to get to our sky. And that's where we're suspended there. And we're suspended in this like up and down, prideful fall life. And so that's kind of the landscape of it. And then the second verse is about a fetus that's born, which would be us, which would be me, like a fetus that is born and is thinking about everything that he or she is going to do upon being born. And it's like, I'm going to be born, but I'm going to be better than everybody else. I'm going to lead every elitist. And then everyone thinks that I'm going to crawl and then walk and then be like you. But actually, I'm going to evolve, and I'm going to crawl, walk, and then fly. And then I'm going to fly up to Zion and be like God. And that kind of, mirrors the fall of Lucifer, and then also the sin state that we all kind of have, or not kind of have, we all definitely have upon being born. And so that's like the beginning of the whole saga.
Testimony.
Testimony, where Christian hip-hop artists give you an exclusive look into their lives and their music. Take a journey into the minds of today's top Christian hip-hop artists as they open up and share about their past, their faith, and their music in ways you've never heard before. Put on your favorite pair of headphones or turn the stereo volume up and listen.
A musician's story.
Connect with Testimony, a musician story through social media. Find links to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more at testimoonystories.com. Now back to Testimony, a musician story featuring Fly Exam by JGivens.
Come on. Boom. About time all y'all pay attention. Chant to the game, say it again. Abraham had many sons had many sins. Save them then. Trying to sit y'all at the table then. Abraham had many sons, one son had none, but he hung, that's 10 to get in.
Simply put, a 10 to get in is an ode to LA. But because this is JGivens, there are much more layers to the song.
Pick up bit 6, let's commence. Then Expect what's next is a hand full of bones. To the left with a 6 to connect, but this is the West and we play to win. Head so big like a stadium, and I don't even know what to say to him. But 666, how the game begin. I got him on a domino effect, honoring his brother and his father, but he's following a check. At age 15, he was 6'3" with a dream. Play 6'3" like fit ain't, shit ain't. Chest out, already working on his first house. Thinking he the best out, X and O. Pride on fleek, don't speak to him unless it's about extra O's and O's.
Okay, so we're going through the story where I think I'm fly, I know I'm dope, now let's get this money. And so 10 to get in is about money, but it's in the universe of a game of dominoes. And so it's a giant extended metaphor on dominoes, even with the title 10 to get in. That's how many points you need to even get on the scoreboard in a game of dominoes. And coming up in LA, I was raised in like domino backyard boogie culture. And I got Odd Thomas on this song because he's from Long Beach in the same culture. So we both play dominoes. We're both very aggressive and competitive at dominoes. And so all of the extended metaphors are playing an actual game, but then they're also talking about just our lives and trying to chase money and get to the top and make this money. And then also the title is kind of like a 2.5 entendre. Like it's 10 to get in, which is like 10 points to get in on the domino board. But then I spelled it like 10 to get in, like a car, because the beat is like riding music. So that just is so like LA West Coast to me. And so it's like 10 to get in. And then also overall, we need 10 commandments to get into heaven, but we could never complete them. And so we need a savior to complete them for us. And so in the chorus, it says, Abraham had many, many sons had many, many sins. Save them then, trying to sit y'all at the table then, which could be the domino table or the table, of showbread or something, like God's table. And then it's just like one son had none, but he hung. That's 10 to get in. Like he stretched his hands out, and that was 10 commandments or 10 fingers to get into heaven for us.
The album Fly Exam has two sides, like a cassette tape. Side A is titled So High. The last song to be featured in the series of So High tracks is the title track, Fly Exam.
I woke up out of retirement to acquire the iron, to sharpen my iron. I am the dialect of environments, tired of being granted asylum by the lion of the tribe of the scientist. Babylonian diadem. I suffer from climate shift. Get them in airborne. Sad and I don't admire them. What am I here for? The path I'm on is a higher risk. Can't explain why I write and then cry and then write and then cry and then write and cry and I write again. Can't escape, let it resonate from the diaphragm. Thus, lamentations on laminated papyrus. Now if I tweet it and don't delete it, I guess I gotta speak it from Crete through Egypt to Exodus, into Ephesus with the preaching.
I really wanted to go like 80s at one point because I wanted the sonic structure of the album to progress somewhere too. And so because I was born in the 80s, I was like, let's inside A there. The whole monologue of this is because it's an interlude, and so there's no hook or anything. It's just kind of the guitar ripping it and me going in on just like looking around. It's literally, it's the story. It's Jeremiah of Anatoth, the prophet Jeremiah, looking around Babylon and seeing all of this stuff going on in his environment. And then it just kind of like warps into like what I see and then what he sees. And I kind of like really paralleled my life after that prophet. I mean, I was even to the point where I was reading that book and being like, wow, I am really young and I'm preaching and stuff. And I don't really want to go because I'm really young. And I would go back to chapter 1 and listen to what God told him. So the title track for this album is actually like my relationship with the story of Jeremiah the prophet and what he went through in life.
Jeremiah on the red eye again, the testing of my faith to rest and abide in him. This is all a part of my fly exam.
Testimony.
Testimony, where Christian hip-hop artists give you an exclusive look into their lives and their music. Take a journey into the minds of today's top Christian hip-hop artists as they open up and share about their past, their faith, and their music in ways you've never heard before. Put on your favorite pair of headphones or turn the stereo volume up and listen. Everyone has a testimony, and we want to hear yours. Tell us how God has transformed your life. Each month, we will select a person to highlight and interview. Find out more at testmimonystories.com.
Testimony.
Download the podcast of Testimony, a Musician Story on iTunes. Find out how at testmimonystories.com.
A musician's story.
While living in this world, we are all subject to worldly desires, like lust, sex, and greed. But unlike the prophet Jeremiah, this Jeremiah, JGivens, took part in the world and embraced his sins. Which brings us to side B, So Low. Side B starts off with Lost in Space, featuring Mars.
What it ain't what it is. Hey kids, we gon' do it like this. Got enough permission, slip into the abyss. Take them on a field trip, from the earth to the moon, first to the zoo. Take every jailbird and prisoner, him, her, him, her, him, her, him, her, him, 2 by 2 on a rocket ship.
Figuratively, it's in space, which is like, in my opinion, like the highest point that you can fall from, right? So like we're in space, we're at the peak of what is coming to be side B, and this is going to be the Great Descent. The first part is an allegory, and the allegories are sprinkled throughout the album. And then the second verse, the bulk of the song is about being lost in isolation. And so when we get out of community, and one of the reasons why I struggled so much with vices in life and sins is because I was on my own and doing my own thing. The second that I ejected from the community of the church body, I got lost in space and I got lost in my stuff. And so that's kind of where the problem lies in side B.
Losing the space, there's a room where the sun will never shine, and our fantasies will grow straight out of our mind.
Hummingbird Stance is the lowest point on the album. So we fall like a shooting star to the ground, and then we hit Hummingbird Stance, which is the story I previously told about just the literal story of me being suicidal and on meth and just like at the lowest point where I just wanted to kill myself. The title actually comes from a friend of mine. His name is Kerry Hancock, and he has a ministry called Death by Meth. And years ago, he gave me $100, and he was like, dude, I think you're gonna get big, or I don't know what this is for, but take this $100, and if you can, make a song and call it Hummingbird something, but make it about like meth and suicide. Because his story is that his ministry is named after a suicide letter that he wrote to his family when he was going to kill himself. He told God, he said, I'm going to kill myself, and I'm going to do it in 24 hours unless you show me a sign. And as a matter of fact, I want the sign to be a hummingbird. And so 24 hours goes around. He doesn't see a hummingbird, looking for a sign. And he's like, man, like, what the heck? Like, all right, I'm going to do this. Then he randomly gets a phone call from someone, a friend of his from back in the day that he hadn't talked to in ages. Like it's completely a random phone call. And she's like, hey, Carrie, how you doing? I just saw this hummingbird outside and it randomly reminded me of you. So I called you. And how that tied in, obviously, with my story, Hummingbird Stance is the one that I wrote this album for, to be honest.
Admission that mission is like every day for me, so that's me and you, that's at least 2, See, it may sound absurd to you, but your words are immutable. He sent this hummingbird for you to know. For you, the perturbed, to whom it may concern, observe that you are not some island tied in one cubicle. And I know it may sound suitable to try to escape this fire and jump from that fire escape on your Monday, but skydiving on your 15-minute break just ain't as beautiful as seeing one crucified for you and I. See, they think you stupid fly. They ask like do or die if you wanna ride in a suit and tie trying to drive you to suicide.
Okay, so side B has literally taken you through some of the lowest points of JGivens' life. But don't fret, there is hope in Jesus. The album takes a bit of a turn with the track Take Off With Me, which features his cousin, John Gibbs.
Sky might die and just hit the floor. I might fly on my tippy toes. Really don't know.
In the sequence, Super Low Key is the lowest that I wanted anyone really to feel on the album, because you don't want to be listening to an album that you're just it's just dismal and you're just not surviving and you're like, okay, I want this to be over. And so Take Off With Me is the beginning of the new ascension. It's more like just this ebb and this flow of life. And so at our lowest point, we reach out to God. Who's going to save me? Okay, this is me. This is confession. And now it's okay, let's get back on our feet and keep going. That song's really about life, the ups and the downs, and creativity. One of the greatest agendas that God provided was the ability to make us in his image and likeness, and quite literally to make us artists, to make us to be able to create like he did. And so we just really wanted to have fun, do something really creative, and really like put art up there and like champion art as well, not to diminish from the ministry, but just to champion on its own right.
Fly Exam concludes with, they said there'd be jetpacks.
That's fly. One time I take you too high, too high, too high for my mind. But if tomorrow comes calling, I'ma be alright, be alright. That's fly. One time I take you too high, too high, too high for my mind. And if tomorrow comes calling, I'ma be alright, be alright. That's fly.
First off, the sarcastic title is to be noted, I guess. The title, they said there'd be jetpacks, pretty much is like kind of just, life didn't give you what you expected. Like somebody told me that when I became Christian, or when I got a lot of money, or when I finally got to somewhere, everything was going to be all great. And, they didn't lie, but they didn't tell the whole truth. There's a road to get there. And this, this whole life and what we chase, and the fame and everything that we chase in life that glitters and we think is gold, like it's not. And what really matters is being content in the Lord, what he calls you to do, and just being content with him. The book I was reading and the field that I was praying to get was Ecclesiastes. But you read it and the whole time you're like, man, this sucks. Like nothing's worth anything. Like, why am I even living then? And then you get to the end and it's just like, be content in what the Lord has done and rejoice in the Lord. And it's like, oh, yeah, dope. And so that's kind of what they said there'd be jetpacks is. It's like, don't gaslight, don't gas it up. Just gas up the Savior, because that's who will make you content in everything. And so propaganda's on that. We do a fun back and forth. I wanted to bring it back to kind of the like late 90s, early 2000s, like back and forth, fun hip hop style, and get Prop in there. And actually that's the song I've always wanted to do with Propaganda, him being my mentor.
Gravity got a hold of me, enemies tower over me, it won't be over easy. They scramble the frequency. I hear voices trying to speak to me, trying to take my peace from me. Even when they go away, they leave with a piece of me. I just wanna go our separate ways and live peaceably. Put it all behind us, they continue to rewind it. Add to the confusion when I'm looking for the minus. They all took a piece, but I don't know where mine is. Maybe my greatest weakness was my kindness, and I just need silence. Why does it seem like violence is the only way to find a moment of peace and quiet? Taking thoughts captive, so many to collect. When they dance around my head while I'm close to the edge, don't push. I blame everyone but me, even though it's plain to see I was a kamikaze. That's right, I'm the captain of my own ship. Yeah, I'm the captain of my own ship. Wreck, lost at sea.
So the takeaway is, don't gas yourself up too much. You just got here. You don't know everything. You're not all wise. You're not all wise in your own understanding. Like, you're new to this. Some of the songs even start like in the middle of the song, like in the middle of the verse. Like even the album starts in the middle of a thought. It's like, after that, a supernatural disaster just happened to happen. Like, after what? Like, you never told us. And it's like, yeah, I don't have time to, because you just got here. So understand that, like, you just got here. There's someone wiser than you. There's someone better than you. There's someone that works harder than you. Like, be humble. Don't be wise in your own eyes, but be humble, and judge yourself according to the measure of the faith that the Lord has given you. Now go out there and live life and look to the Lord and pray to him in the highs and in the lows. And know that everything is all vanity, nothing's new under the sun, and keep on chasing the gospel.
So, are you like Icarus and your desire is to fly too close to the sun? Or are you constantly battling to draw near to his son, Jesus Christ? You can support JGivens and Humble Beast by purchasing Fly Exam. It is available on all digital outlets, or it is freely given at humblebeast.com. Thank you for listening to Testimony, a musician's story. To hear this episode again, as well as past episodes, visit testmimonystories.com.
See, I had other dreams trying to fill other shoes. And now I covet you. You in that office despising your 10 to 2. And you turning and missing assignments, tired of school. Sometimes the grass you thinking is greener is really blue. There's a beast lying beneath at the surface searching for food. There's a reason why wisdom always seems to run from a fool. Sometimes the beast ain't the serpent, it's really you. So stay more submitted, take your repentance like way more serious than mere confession. And scream out Mayday with more intentions to change the tradition. Stay more in spirit, wait for what you say the spirit can prove. At mention, pray for JGivens, a name that I pray you do.